Hello, and welcome to the Thomas Nelson Community College EMS Program's Clinical and Field Orientation video series. This is part one of a two-part segment that covers your clinical and field compliance items as EMS students. Part one will include all of your important forms that you will need to download from the Thomas Nelson website and fill out to complete as your compliance items and upload to FISDAP. Part two will consist of uploading those items to FISDAP and going through each compliance item. To begin this segment, students need to visit tncc.edu/fireandems. Once you arrive at this website, click on the button that says Emergency Services Program on the right-hand side. Under the Fire and EMS Information and Resources, you will find links that are important for your entire program, whether it's the one-semester EMT program or the two-year paramedic program. We will go through these important links one by one. The first important link that you will see is the EMS Program Manual. All EMS students are responsible for reading this 153-page document and understanding what is in it. Later on, you will be required to sign a document that states that you have read and understand the EMS program's department manual. This manual contains all of the information you need for your entire EMS program. It includes accreditation requirements, skills requirements, lab practice goals, and important documents. We are not going to cover this entire program manual in this video. However, give a brief overview of the documents that you will need to fill out within the forms packet. The EMS program's form packet is located in two places. First, at the end of this program manual. The second place is a link directly to the 19-page document. It is listed on the website as Ems Forms Packet. This Ems Forms Packet does have fillable items that can be completed before you print and is set up for single-sided printing. In this forms packet, you will get an overview of the important forms, as well as the very bottom, you have a checklist that you can complete once your instructor gives you the important dates and deadlines. The first page you come to is your student demographic information. Again, this can be filled out before you print. For EMT students, you do not need to fill out the level of EMS certification. All students that currently hold a BLS Healthcare Provider Certification or BLS CPR can provide that information by selecting yes and expiration date. You will also need to upload a copy of your current BLS Healthcare Provider card. Next is the release of information form that you will need to fill out. Next is the photo, video, digital media release form that talks about giving permission for Thomas Nelson Community College and the EMS programs the right to use any photographs or video images that you may be appearing in during your program. These are used for marketing, public relations, promotional, and instruction efforts. The next form is the Communicable Diseases Statement. Each student needs to be aware that there are risks associated for bloodborne and bodily fluid pathogens and the transmission of those infectious materials during this program and following patient care activities. The next form in the packet is the Influenza Vaccination Attestation. You must also provide a documented proof that you have received a flu shot for this program. Hipaa Medical Confidentiality Policy Acknowledgement. This must be filled out every year that you are in our program. EMT students may only need to fill this out once. Paramedic students, you will need to fill this out at least twice in your 2-year program. And it needs to be done on the annual basis. Social media policy acknowledgement. The social media policy can be found in the program manual. Approval to use student assignments, and program manual affirmation. The last fillable form is clinical and field agency restriction self-disclosure. This form needs to be filled out by all students, and you have 2 choices to select. The first choice is that you are not aware of any restrictions that would preclude you from being scheduled to complete any clinical or field experiences or internships. If you are restricted from working at a certain agency or clinical site, you must disclose that to the program so that you are not scheduled to work at those areas. You must provide that with a list of the facility, site, or location under the name of facility. The next form should be filled out by students who are sponsored by an agency. This form shall be copied and pasted to your agency's letterhead and filled out by your training division. The next 2 forms pertain to students who are associated with a fire or EMS agency that completed a background check and drug screen for pre-employment purposes. Students who have completed a criminal history background check and drug screen for pre-employment purposes shall have this form letter replicated on agency's letterhead and filled out by the appropriate training officer and submitted to the college. Students who are not affiliated with an agency will be required to order a criminal history background check and drug screen. That will be covered later in this video segment. Last form on here will be the third-party payment letter template. Again, if an agency is sponsoring a third-party payment, this will need to be completed by your training division by copying and pasting it onto letterhead. At the bottom, you are provided a to-do checklist. This checklist does work for both EMT and paramedic programs. Your lead instructor and your clinical coordinator will give you important dates that you need to complete certain items by. This will help you maintain and keep track of all the items that are outstanding that you need to upload to FISDAP for your clinical compliance. Each EMS student is required to purchase a name tag for use at your clinical and field sites as well as in the lab practice setting. You are also required to order a polo shirt with the program that you are associated with, EMT and paramedic. Both of these items will be ordered through the bookstore as well as your student manual and book packages. You must fill out the student name tag order form online, then print it and take it to the bookstore where you will pay for your name tag. You must order at least one name tag for the program that you are in. Only select the program that you are currently taking. Once the name tags are available for pickup, they will notify the EMS program director, who will then notify all of the instructors to let the students know they can go and pick those up. The uniform that is required for every student to wear is located in the program manual. The next important forms packet that all EMS students must fill out is the medical physical examination. All students in the EMS programs must complete a physical examination prior to completing clinical and field time. Students who are affiliated with a fire department or EMS agency that receive an annual physical will be allowed to use the annual physical for their department. Supporting documentation must be uploaded to your FISDAP account showing that you did complete your department physical. All physicals must accompany these forms. Background check, demographic information, physical form, and drug screens. On the physical forms, there is a section to document all vaccinations that you have received. The vaccinations that are required for this program are MMR, measles, mumps, rubella, varicella, hepatitis B, tetanus, pertussis, or Tdap, a TB test, and a flu shot. Just filling out this form does not provide proof that you have received these vaccinations. You must provide a complete list of your immunizations when turning these forms in. You can also have titers drawn to show immunity for each of these areas. We will cover that a little bit later. Also attached to this forms packet is your tuberculosis skin test. Testing instructions include a two-step process for new EMS students. Most departments no longer require an annual skin test, rather just a screening. However, for the EMS programs, you must complete the two-step process or have a one-time blood draw showing your immunity levels to TB. If you opt for the two-step skin test process, you must follow the instructions as listed on this page. You will do a step 1 skin test that will be read within 48 to 72 hours after administration. Once that has been completed, you will move on to step 2 at least 2 weeks after step 1 has been completed. There are some students that cannot receive the skin test, and their doctor may order a chest x-ray. This can also be uploaded in lieu of the step 1 and step 2 skin test process. Finally, the one-step blood draw is also acceptable in lieu of the step 1 and step 2 skin test. Each EMS student must complete at least one skin test annually in the 2-year program for paramedic. The student background check and drug screen information. Students who are affiliated with an agency that completed a background check and drug screen for pre-employment purposes may use the forms previously mentioned in the forms packet in lieu of ordering a new background check and drug screen. Those forms must be filled out by your training division showing that you have completed a background check and drug screen for pre-employment purposes. Students who are not affiliated with an agency that conducts background check and drug screen prior to employment must order a Castle branch background check and drug screen. You have to use this program with our program code in order for it to count. You cannot go to a local police department and run your own student background check. Once you order the background check and drug screen, they will provide you with important emails on how and where to obtain your drug screen and in what time frame. The code that is listed is for paramedic students who have completed a background check within previous months, 12 months only, and that is for a drug screen only. EMS students who only need the drug screen are students who have completed a background check within the last 12 months. Examples of this will be EMT students who completed the program and immediately moved on to paramedic. You will only need to conduct the background check and drug screen once for your program. You will be required to show proof of ordering the background check and drug screen by a specific date within your first semester. Your lead instructor and/or clinical coordinator will provide you with the cutoff date for uploading that document. There are other important forms located on the Fire and EMS webpage that we will cover later on in the video series, including Thomas Nelson Clinical and Field Competency and Tracking. There are also student resources that give you quick links to your different web pages, including FISDAP, JB Learning, NREMT, Virginia OEMS Portal, and so on. This concludes part one of this two-part series on clinical compliance.